US. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at rabr.kaleijohansen.us. And now, it's time to talk Star Wars. I am Kyle Jon Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello.
Howdy. Hello. Oh.
Hello.
Oh, that's creepy. All right. Today, again, we are talking about Star Wars, but we're going to talk about The Mandalorian, Season 3, Chapter 17, The Apostate, which I saw a funny thing on Twitter. Somebody changed the title to A Prostrate, as in you're prostrate. Anyway, so we're going to go through some news. We got a news article about some of the Easter eggs that were in the episode, and we're actually going to do that first. So I probably have to do the spoiler thing, but we'll see. And we're going to do a detailed recap, discussion, questions of the week, and then beg for feedback again. We need some feedback from everybody. There's a lot of things that happen in this episode. That we've seen a few things before that happened, and we've seen a few things other places. So let me spoiler. So if you haven't watched the episode, you need to watch it now. Come back to us after you've watched it. Okay, and we're going to do some news.
It's time for the news.
It is time for the news. So I'm switching my screen so we can look at this thing. It's not that important that you look at it, but let's just look at it anyway. All right, so this is our news thing. So it's like I said, it's the Easter eggs. And they kind of describe the episode a little bit there. It says that there's quite a few callbacks to the Clone Wars. This Gordian Shard guy has never been seen before. But we see IG-11, which was a previous episode, of course. And we see the Alzinians that are they're going to fix him for Mando. And we, of course, have seen those in the sequels. I think that was the Rise of Skywalker when they turned off 3PO and reactivated him so he could read the Sith on the sword or whatever, the knife. Alzinians are some of the best droid smiths in the galaxy, supposedly. Probably because they have tiny hands to get through all the wires and circuits and stuff. But anyway, IG-11...
Maybe they're just smart like that.
Yeah, they were smart like that too. Probably. And Takati Waititi was once again the voice of IG-11. We'll hear about that in a minute as well. They mentioned Cara Dune in our episode. She's the one that was was in quite a few of our first episodes. I think of season 1. They mentioned her.
She was that nice-looking big Mandalorian.
Yeah, no, she was not a Mandalorian.
Oh, excuse me, she was a warrior princess, right?
No. So they said in the episode that Cara took Moff Gideon in to be jailed, and she was immediately recruited by the New Republic forces. That's what's said in the episode. It says that she was recruited by Alphabet Squadron, which is something we hear about later. So then there's also the Purgils, which we saw at the beginning of the episode when Grogu's looking at the out the window while they're going through light speed, and he sees stuff moving in there.
The whales.
Those are the whales that we saw in Rebels that were supposedly force sensitive whales, and they could travel light speed and stuff like that. And there somehow Ahsoka was in there too. Ahsoka was part of them, the Rebels at the time, and she, I think it was our boy Ezra that noticed him first, and she helped tame him because of her stronger force abilities or something weird. So supposedly, Babu Frick was one of the Anzelians that were there. Like I said, he was the one that was in Rise of Skywalker, I believe. So he was there, which that is means that Babu is pretty old in the Rise of Skywalker, because according to our timeline, do I still have this open? Yeah, according to our timeline, Rise of Skywalker is way up here, 35 after the Battle of Yavin, and we're here around 9 or 10. I think this episode says it was 9 after the Battle of Yavin, so that's almost 30 years later that we see him 30 years before he was seen in the movies, which is kind of cool. What?
Sorry. I just noticed Grogu was using force to spin that chair.
Yeah. Uh-oh. My headphones are getting ready to go out. So there was mentioned in the episode that there was 3 planets in the Mandalorian system. There was Mandalore, Sundari, and Cavella. Cavella is the one we visited at the end and saw what's her name there. And we came back to Navarro this episode. And they were told to take the Hydenian Way to find the core worlds. It's a specific route that you take. Wesley Kimmel was played Ragnar, which is the kid that you were talking about. And Wesley Kimmel is Jimmy Kimmel's son. That has the talk show.
Yeah.
Wesley Kimmel is his son, Ragnar, who is the son of, like I said, his name's Heavy. Let's see. Oh, and we saw a bunch of the monkey.
So the boy is Jimmy Kimmel's son.
Yes. We saw a bunch of lizard monkeys in the show this episode as well.
Yeah, they were hanging out in the tree.
The pirate gang consisted of several different species. There was a Nikitu, a Waykwe, a Quarren, Platoons. There was a Transdosian, and so on. There was all kinds of species that were call-outs in previous episodes and such. So,
they did a quick draw session.
Yeah. So that's
we're no
ends the news.
The news.
So that's the news. Still got my screen on, don't I? Let me show you this picture too, so help you remember the whales.
I saw the whales in the light speed.
I know. I'm going to show you a picture. Can you see that? That's what they looked like in the Rebels. They were whales, and you can see some of them here in the background or in the fog or whatever, are kind of like what we saw in the episode today, or this episode we're going to talk about. All right. Let me stop sharing. Go back to just audio only. All right. So there's that. So also in the episode, we had the writer was Jon Favreau, director Rick Fujimami. The cast, of course, we had a quite a long set of cast here today. We had Djarin was Pedro Pascal, Greef Karga, Carl Weathers, and then we had a couple body doubles for the Mando. Brandon Wayne was one body model, and there was another one that was called Lateef Crowder. He was the second body double. We had Katee Sackhoff for Bo Katan. Emily Swallow was the Armourer. We had Vizsla was one of the Mandalorians. He was done by Tait Fletcher. I said before, Ragnar was Wesley Kimmel. Greef, the Greef droid that, the gold droid that was his assistant, was voiced by Parvesh Cheena. Again, IG-11 by Jakeki, whatever his name is. Pirate Vane, the main pirate that talked all the time, was done by Marti Matulis. All the Alzanian droid smith crew was voiced by Shirley Henderson. We had Captain / King Gorgon Shard. He was voiced by Nanos Azani. And then Pirate Coxswain, which is one of the secondary pirates, was voiced by Matt Frazier. That was a lot. So let's do Pelly's mod repair shop.
Are you planning your next trip to Tatooine? Well, come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where our droids will spruce up your wagon. We'll service just about anything from Starfighter Corellian Y1300 freighter to a Vespa hovering scooter. If we don't have the part, we can get it. If you qualify for our special program, we'll provide you with any part our Jawas can get. Well, that's right. Come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where we can store fuel and upgrade your vessel. We're located at Tatooine's Mos Eisley Spaceport, Hangar 35.
35.
My headphones could go out any second. That's what it keeps telling me. Okay, so Mandalorian Season 3, Chapter 17, named Apostate. So let's find out what Apostate means. Apostate was a Mandalorian that belonged to Children of the Watch and broke the Mandalorian Creed. According to Creed, one could be redeemed in the living waters beneath the mines of Mandalore, which we all found out in the episode. This episode aired on March 1st. It was 38 minutes long. And the timeline, as I showed the timeline a little bit ago, it is 9 years after the Battle of Yavin and about 20 some years after the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch. So that means it's time to grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, and join us on the Rebel Alliance briefing as we go through the episode. Okay, so we start out on an unknown planet. The Armourer is making a blue Mandalorian helmet. Clank, clank, bang, bang, all that kind of stuff. She brings the helmet to a Mandalorian initiate ceremony by the riverbank. During initiation ceremony, the youth named Ragnar swears the creed before donning his helmet. Before they can complete the ceremony, an alligator-like creature attacks the Mandalorian covert. The Armourer takes Ragnar to safety while Paz Vizsla leads the defense of the covert. The creature eats a few Mandalorian, and the Mandalorians attempt to plant explosives on the monster, but are unable to pierce its thick hide. They attempt to pull it down with grappling cables, but they are no match to the creature as it starts to roll and spin. Ragnar attempts to charge at the creature, and shoot directly into his mouth. But Vizsla pushes him. Ragnar attempts to charge the creature, but Vizsla pushes him aside and fires blaster bolts into the creature. Suddenly, we hear a sound, and then Djarin arrives in his starfighter with Grogu and fires torpedoes into the creature's side, killing it, making guts and everything go all over the place.
Boom.
And we saw guts and stuff on the
was
ground
cool.
and whatever. Yeah, it was pretty cool. After landing his ship, Djarin visits the Armourer in her cave and asks how he can redeem himself. The Armourer tells Djarin that he is no longer a Mandalorian, since he willingly removed his helmet. Djarin reminds her that the Creed speaks about redemption. The Armourer believes that Djarin cannot be redeemed since she believes that the mines and living waters were destroyed during the Great Purge of Mandalore. Djarin shows a green Mandalorian inscription which he obtained from a Jawa who acquired it from someone who visited Mandalore. The Armourer responds that the inscription proves the Mandalorian's entire surface has been crystallized by fusion rays. Djarin believes that the traveler managed to reach the mines of Mandalore, and Djarin seeks for redemption by traveling to Mandalore, proving that the mines and waters exist. The Armourer accepts his quest and says that this is the way. This is the way. And then Grogu, of course, coos. I like it, Daddy. Let's go. Then we get to then while they're traveling through hyperspace, Grogu watches the hyperspace tunnel and observes several large shapes traveling alongside of them, which, like I said, was called the Purguli, and they could travel light speed and so on and so on. Djarin flies the starfighter to Navarro, where he is greeted by air traffic control. He tells them he's come to visit an old friend. Djarin walks through the streets of Navarro City, while Grogu follows in his repulsor lift cradle. Djarin notices the streets are cleaner and safer. Droids beings of different species roam throughout the streets. Monkey lizards watch from the trees, and they pass the statue of IG-11. Djarin reminds Grogu of his droid friend and greets Greef Karga, who welcomes him to Navarro, and he is the new High Magistrate. Inside his office, Karga tells Djarin that Navarro has become an official trade spur of the Hydran space route. Karga tells him that Navarro has been undergoing a construction boom due to mining in the system's asteroid field. Karga offers Djarin and Grogu a parcel of land to settle in the outskirts of the city. Djarin replies that he's not ready to settle down since his quest is not over and he has become an apostate. Karga tries to reassure Djarin that he will fit in the aristocracy. The protocol droids informs Karga that several pirates have landed, and they're led by Nikitu Vane, and they are in the courtyard. Vane invites Karga for a drink, but Karga tells him that pub is now a school run by a protocol droid. And we kind of skipped over that part that you mentioned before, where Grogu's sitting in the chair, using the Force to spin himself around the chair.
I think it's a jelly type thing.
Yeah, and Mando puts his hand on the chair to get him to stop. And then he goes and grabs a jelly bean or M&M, whatever it is, but they're all red, so who knows what.
I thought he spit it back onto the desk.
No, he ate it. He ate it. All right, so back to the pirates. Vane insists on drinking at the school due to his history as a bar. Karga refuses to back down, prompting Vane to remind Karga that he paid them for murder and mayhem inside the former bar, and accuses Karga of being soft. So what that means is that's the bar that Karga would hand out bounties and stuff in. We saw in previous episodes. Karga challenges Vane to a gunfight. Before Vane can reach his holster, Karga shoots the blaster out of his hand And Karga tells Vane to inform his captain that Navarro is no longer friendly to pirates. He warns Vane to leave. When Vane's fellow pirates reach for their weapons, Djarin shoots them all down. Joom, 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 choo. Shoots like 5 of them or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Karga warns Vane to leave, and the pirates flee. When Djarin questions his decisions to spare Vane, Karga tells that Vane will take the message home that Navarro is a respectable place now. When several service droids remove the fallen pirates, Karga tells Djarin that he needs a new marshal. He explains that Cara Dune was recruited by the New Republic Special Forces after she captured Moff Gideon, who was sent to the New Republic War Tribunal. Djarin is reluctant to become Karga's new marshal and struggles and suggests that Karga have the New Republic send a new one. Karga responds that he is unwilling to bow down to another far-off bureaucracy. What? Did he what?
I just saw him again. The Cape droids.
Yeah. He has. He's so powerful. He's got cape droids. I thought it was funny too. Little tiny droids keeping his cape off the ground, basically.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Cargo dreams of making Navarro the first truly independent trade anchor in the sector. Djarin declines the offer since he has pressing matters to attend to. Dun, dun, dun.
He wants to
Karga asks what services he can provide, and Djarin requests that he get back the late IG-11, since he needs a droid that he can trust to help him explore the Mandalorian surface. Karga responds that the statue is made out of a few parts of IG-11 that were salvaged following its self-destruction. Not all of them are there, and Karga offers Djarin other droids, but Djarin convinces Karga to let him try to rebuild IG-11.
Mm-hmm.
In a workshop, Djarin connects Karga's mechanical body. Connects IG-11's mechanical body to power and manages to revive the droid. However, Djarin manages to restore IG's memories to the time he wanted to terminate Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
The legless IG-11 lunges at Djarin and Grogu. Djarin grabs Grogu and passes him to Karga before shooting at IG-11. A bust of Karga's falls on IG-11 by that metal droid that he's got there, his assistant. And later, Karga invites Djarin to bring the deactivated IG-11 to several Alzenian droid smiths, whom he describes as the best in the galaxy. However, the Alzenians are unable to repair IG-11's memory circuit due to its rarity. They recommended buying a new droid. New droid, please. Djarin offers to help the Alzenians find a new part, which they accept. Grogu hugs one of the Alzenian mechanics, prompting the Alzenian and Djarin to tell him not to squeeze too hard. No squeeze, no squeeze. Djarin and Grogu prepare to leave on the Starfighter to find the memory circuits for IG-11. Karga wishes them safe travels. Safe travels, mate.
That's using your head.
What?
We forgot the part where the protocol droid threw the statue of what's his name on the and stopped it and.
No, I said that.
And Mando goes, "That's using your head."
Yeah, he did say that. I didn't say that part, but it did fall down on his. I did say that the droid pushed it down on him and stopped him.
I don't see why the little fixer uppers couldn't do it without something, but
Yeah,
maybe
so they
Mando will find that piece and bring it back.
yeah, the memory circuit was damaged and they didn't have it was rare, so they didn't have the part. All right, so then we see Mando traveling through space above Navarro, and he tells Grogu that there's more to being a Mandalorian than fighting. He has that navigating is useful, and since one never knows where one will be heading next. Djarin shows Grogu a hyperspace map and tells him he can determine his range by looking at the fuel gauge. The spaceship proximity alerts warns Djarin about the presence of pirates and starfighters. Vane seeks to avenge the deaths of his four brothers and reminds Djarin that they serve the pirate king Gorgon Shard. Djarin responds that Shard should stick to hijacking and ransoming before pulling the accelerator. Djarin leads the pirates and starfighters on a chase through the asteroid field. One of the pirate ships crashes into an asteroid, but the others continue. Djarin gains the upper hand and runs circles around the pursuers, shooting several starfighters down. One of the prize ships crashes into a mining platform on an asteroid. Despite these losses, Vane manages to drive Djarin's starship towards Captain Shard's warship. The pirate gunners aim their weapons at Djarin's starfighter, and Shard warns Djarin that he has his guns trained on him, which scares Djarin because those guns can blow his ship out of the air. Djarin responds that he has no quarrel with him, but Shard reminds Djarin that he had just destroyed 4 of his starfighters, and Shard demands that Djarin surrender in return for sparing his life. Djarin tells Grogu to never trust a pirate before pushing the switch that does the high acceleration, causing the starfighter to shoot past the bridge of the Shard warship, and Shard groans in rage because they aren't going to be able to catch him. Djarin takes Grogu to Calavela, another planet within the Mandalore system, and Djarin lands his starfighter at a Mandalorian castle. He says, "Look, Grogu, it's a castle." Upon disembarking, he and Grogu are greeted by a blue droid. The two walk through the castle hallway to a throne where they are greeted by a forlorn Bo-Katan Kryze, who has abandoned her plans to retake Mandalore. Without the Darksaber, her forces have melted away, and they have gone off to be, bounty hunters and such. And they've all in mercenaries. Kryze asks Djarin if he has the Darksaber, and Djarin confirms, "Yes, I do." She tells him to use that to lead the people. Djarin asks Kryze if she has given up on her plan to retake Mandalore, and Kryze responds that the Children of the Watch cult gave up on Mandalore before the Purge. She asks Djarin where he was during the Purge, and Kryze says that the Children of the Watch and other factions divided their people. She tells Djarin to go home because there's nothing left. Dun, dun, dun.
So
And she's
just sitting there. So she's just sitting there alone. Is she just alone there?
Yeah.
There's
There
no
might
other.
be there might be some servants or something, but we never see them. And likely those servants are droids anyway, right? So
Yeah. Well, she needs to get with Mando and have some Mando babies.
exactly. Djarin tells Kryze that he intends to return to Mandalore in order to bathe in the living waters and be forgiven for his transgressions. Bo-Katan thinks that Djarin is foolish and responds that there's nothing magical about the mines of Mandalore. She says they supplied the best car or to their ancestors, and the rest of the superstition is false. When Bo-Katan says that Mandalore has been poisoned, plundered, and polluted, Djarin reminds her that she said the curse was a lie and tells her to make up her mind. Bo-Katan tells Djarin that the mines are located beneath the Civic Center in Sundari, which is one of the 3 planets I mentioned before. Djarin vows to find out whether Mandalore has truly been poisoned, and then we see Bo-Katan say, "Bye, Djarin.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.
Bye-bye."
Bye-bye now.
All right, that's the credits.
Pew, pew, pew. Yeah, credits are rolling.
And you see the credits are like drawings of all the parts of the episode.
Yeah, as usual.
As usual, the Bad Batch doesn't normally do that kind of stuff, but the live action shows do. All right, so what question sticks out about you about this episode, Scott? Wow, that's tough. Okay, so what'd you think about the episode then? Pretty good episode.
Hold on a minute. Mando has to get to the living waters or whatever. I mean,
well,
because you bombed the planet doesn't mean you destroyed what's within the middle.
He has to find that chip first, though, right? So he can get IG-11 working.
Yeah,
because he wants IG-11 to help him.
Well, he needs
search
to
the
go,
planet.
He needs to go to Los Angeles. I'm sure
Think
she
so?
had.
Pelly, go see Pelly.
Yeah. Pelly.
Pelly's modern. Pelly's modern repair shop.
Mm-hmm. No, she
Right.
likes the little squirrely red-eyed things.
Exactly. The Jawas can find it for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we'll find that in the next episode. I thought it was a pretty good episode myself. It was I mean, it may have been more action than I was expecting. But then again, I guess I'm used to some slow episodes with the Mandalorian a little bit too. But I thought it was pretty good. There was lots of callbacks to previous Star Wars things, and we got to see that new guy, the Gordon Shard guy. He looked like he was had bean sprouts growing out of his head and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bean sprouts for hair, which I thought was pretty funny.
So you need a mister? He needs a mister. He needs to be misted.
Yeah. All right, so we want everybody to send us feedback.
Feedback at KyleJohansson.us. That's feedback, KyleJohansen.us.
That's right, feedback. We can go to that email address, feedback at KyleJohansson.us. That'll come in, and I think currently both Scott and I will see that.
Mm-hmm.
You can also go to our website on the left-hand side of the website, and there's a link for feedback there. You can click on that, fill it out, and it sends it to us the same way. Also on the left-hand side over there is the question of the week. You can answer the question of the week, and there's a comment section below where you can explain your answer or tell us more about the show that you want to see Scott's pretty eyes without being under a hood, whatever you got to do. We're also on Twitter at super_duper_pod. And of course, we put this video up on YouTube so you can see the glint in Scott's eyes. And there's a comment section there, of course. So send us all your feedbacks. Send us 3 or 4 feedbacks. We don't care. Just send them. We need feedback.
Tell
Right?
Kyle he's bossy. Say you can send feedback.
Stop asking me to send feedback. That works too.
Feedback. Just click on this thing and you'll have as much feedback as you want.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
So briefly, I was going to say, currently on Google Podcasts, we now have 5 subscribers, which is up from 3. I think actually one of them is Rick, because Rick's been listening to him. Since his injury, he is now a librarian at his work, so he's shelving lots of books, listens to our podcast while he's shelving. And let's see, on Spotify, everything's pretty much the same. We still have 3 followers. Gio Saven, we've got 28 different streams have happened over the lifetime of our podcast, which is now, with today's episode, would be 65 episodes that we've done so far. We have an average of 2 to 3 people listening every week. The bad news about that is they're not listening to the current episodes; they're listening to previous episodes. Nobody on that website has listened to any of our current episodes. We get a lot of people listening to, when we did the trilogies and stuff, the movies. We get a lot of people listening to that. There's a couple people that listen to the previous season of the Bad Batch. Anyway, and on YouTube this week we had 10 views of our latest episode, which is up from last couple times. It's been about 5 or 6 views, so we're up on that. So maybe we'll get popular. I was mentioned Scott in our chat. Between you and Rick and me, that I think one way we could possibly get more people to follow us and listen to us is do some sort of social media giveaway. Meaning, we could get some stickers or something and give away stickers. I have a Star Wars book that I have 2 of the same book. Maybe I could give away one of those books or something. Of course, they're not signed or anything, but the book's called Rising Storm by Calvin Scott, which he's a pretty prolific writer of the High Republic stuff, which is the stuff before the Phantom Menace. Anyway, we could do something like that. I mean, what do you guys think? I don't know how. And I could do it on Twitter, but maybe you could do some stuff on Facebook or something.
First, it needs to be feedback. It needs to be a feedback reward. And it can't be any of us.
Right. It could be a feedback reward. That sounds good. I mean, they could like our Twitter or something, and then send feedback. And if we get confirmed feedback, they're in as an entry to the giveaway or something like that. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about more of it about later. Because
silly question.
Ooh, silly questions.
Can we do TikTok live?
No, because TikTok is too short. We go over.
People I follow that have horses and stuff like down in Tennessee.
We do
that do live and are like on for hours and hours.
I think you have to subscribe to do that. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, we can live stream on Twitter and Facebook too.
Okay. My question was, if we do, is there a way that there's no way for someone to come in and join our meeting if they want to just give feedback or just want to be a part of it? They would have the
Post
next
died.
podcast. We could have another guest. Oh,
That's weird. Can you say something so I can see if I can hear you?
Hello, Red Rum.
I need to change my speaker. Say something again. It's not working. I clicked on something on TikTok playing that video your wife sent me in the Imperial March or whatever. And there's a guy dancing. She sent me that TikTok video because that was the last thing I looked at. Yeah, I guess they do have a live thing now, don't they? I don't know if I have an account with TikTok.
If someone wants to be the person that presents question of the week or something like that, and they could pop in, or have someone be a guest that has watched or something like that. Besides me, you or Rick.
Yeah.
If they win,
well,
they could be part of the podcast.
I mean, that's a good point. We don't really talk about it when we ask about feedback most of the time, but anybody can send us video to that email address. So they can send a video response if they want to, and we could put that in there and do that. If we had them join the podcast, we would have to know in advance, of course, and they would have to get the link to join it and all that stuff. It would have to be organized, is what I'm trying to say, because probably it would be hard to get them on last minute, right?
No, that's what I mean. I mean, they give us a good question or something like that, and you don't have to give away anything. Give away them being part of the podcast.
Yeah.
A guest.
I agree with that, and
yes,
my hope for the future when we get feedback is that people would send us at least video of some sort, because I can definitely do that, and that would be easy to when I edit the video to put up on YouTube, which I don't do much editing. All I do is put those stupid things at the bottom that have our website and stuff like that. If Rick doesn't show his video, I put up the chicken. I can easily put a spliced in video, question or response of anything. I can do the same with audio. I can easily splice it in to the podcast. We can play it during the podcast and everything too. Video is, like I said, would be different. I have to splice that in for sure so we can see it. But yeah, I encourage anybody to do that.
The ultimate, I think, like the ultimate prize would be to join us on a full podcast.
Yep, we can do that too. I've asked several people on Twitter if they would be willing to do stuff like that. Some of them say they're willing, but then I don't hear anything from them. So,
did you get that guy's email again this week?
Yeah,
like some final thing or something like that.
Yep, and he talked about money and stuff in there.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, so like I said, I haven't done it yet, but that email is actually podcast@kylejohansson.us. That's our official email address that we publish. Like when I publish stuff on YouTube, they want to know an email address, so I use that podcast email address. When I publish this on a site like Spotify, they want to know an email address. I use that email address. So that's how they get it, is they scrape it off of those websites. Like, oh, it says on here, this is your email address. I'm going to send some junk mail to those people, which, I mean, that's fine. I think if we get more people and we can actually, get to a point where we can possibly have a small revenue stream, enough to pay for some of the expenses, which they're not a lot. I will tell you that we've gotten enough traffic from streaming from our website and video and audio from our website that I've had to pay 13 cents again this month.
Oh no.
Which is not that's nothing, right? I can afford that.
I'll give you 7. I'll give you 7 cents to cover taxes.
No, don't worry about that. 13 cents is nothing. If we get, hundreds and hundreds of people streaming, that's a different story. I don't know how much that would be, but it's they charge like fractions of a cent for so much bandwidth or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a big deal. It's just if it ever gets up to significant amounts, then we'll have to start trying to get some income coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let's
Wrap
end
it up.
this episode. We haven't ended it yet.
Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansen.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcast. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansen.us. This podcast in no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers. Views and opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or any or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited.
Do it.
I am Kyle Jon Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say goodbye now.
Bye-bye. See you
Wow.
next week. 2
Oh,
more
wow.
episodes. One Bad Batch, one Mando.